What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to roll out a video that the members actually voted on. So if you guys ain't a part of the memberships, get down there and do that, because I let the members pick this video. So this is going to be the video on predicting coon movement. So let's roll this intro and get into it, man. So before that I actually go ahead and start rolling out this video, there's something that I want to bring up to you guys, or something that I want to ask you guys about, and I want to get your opinion on this. Now, there is only one other person in the community here that is aware of this, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this out there to you guys and see what you guys' thoughts is, and see exactly where we're at, and see how you get a gauge on my idea here, because I have some things in the works, but I think I need to get something more solid, right? So I'm not gassing myself up, so I wanted to bring it to you guys and ask you guys is your opinion about it. Okay, so right here what I have is I have a leash, okay? This leash I actually made myself out of a couple leashes that I had laying around the house, and I went ahead and got some rivets and got some clamps and crimps and stuff and put this leash together. All right, so this is what I want you guys' opinion on, okay? Because I am actually trying to find and get somebody to make these so you guys can have them available to you. And actually, if I'm being completely honest, Dog and Hunt is who I've been talking to, right? So I'm trying to get the ball rolling with them and get these leashes made, or some this isn't exactly 100% the leash, but this is as close as I could remake here at the house, right? So what I want to do is show you guys and bring it to you and ask you guys' opinion about this. Okay, so you guys would just normally see this and say this is just an ordinary other leash, right? But this has a couple little different things to it, and this is why I think this would be a perfect hunt, train, and handle leash combo, right? Because we have all these little extras right here. So first things first, what I have designed into this is this to be a short leash, okay? So it comes in with a short leash, right? And it clips onto the cable lead, okay? So the short leash integrated into this goes a long way, right? So we can have the short leash and we can grab dogs off the tree, we can walk them down here and keep them in a heel position. We can keep them under control and keep them under our power for a lot shorter range, and it's easy to just clip them and you got them, right? Or this can also double as a short lead to tie out to a dog box, short lead to do anything that you need a short lead for, right? So it's just a short lead. And then also what I have on this setup here is I have integrated on the setup also is a slip collar, right? Is a slip collar that is separatable, right? So it's a slip collar that we all know what slip collars are. We slip it on a dog and it acts like a choke collar kind of. You can really put a good handle on a dog with a good slip collar or a good choke collar. So this goes huge tool for getting a handle put on a dog is one of these, right? The one that I have designed, I didn't have enough cable to make it, but the one that I have designed, this is where it differs a little bit. It would be a cable or a biothane rope, right? So the slip lead can be coupled with also the short leash, and then you have just a little bit longer of a deal here, right? So you have just a little bit longer of a lead, so like a medium-sized lead with a slip lead attachment. We could show dogs with this. We could do a lot of things with this, right? So that combination right there is the two big, huge things, is the short leash and the slip leash integrated into our walking lead. Can do a lot of good for us all throughout all the stages, and it's multi-purpose, right? We can use this as our drag leash, okay, and still have the long end of our lead. Get game slipped on the end of this slip collar and get it hooked up in the tree and use it that way. I mean, there's a million different ways to use these leashes, and they're virtually indestructible with the material that they're made out of, and just goes a long way. So this is a 3-foot lead. The one that I've redesigned is a 4-foot lead, so we added an extra foot there, but it only has the O-ring on one side and it has the clip on the other. But what we don't understand about why this has an O-ring on it and not a clip, which we could add another swivel there if we wanted, But we could stake a dog out on a 3-foot or a 4-foot lead, right? So we can put them on tie outs with this, okay? So we can leash them out in the yard to our stake that we have set up for training, right? So goes a long way in itself. And we also got the floating loop to wrap around trees. We got the floating loop to turn this into a slip lead, okay? So we can have a slip lead, a slip collar, short collar, a short leash. So if you guys would do me the favor of getting down there in the comments and just letting me know if you guys think that is a good idea, that I myself could either go into a business kind of making them here at the house, or even getting coupled and partnered up with Dog and Hunt. Let me know if you guys would buy this from Dog and Hunt. I think Dog and Hunt would really like to know if you guys would actually partake and participate and purchase something like this. And I'm not sure on the pricing on that or what that would cost. That would definitely have to be up to them. But it would definitely give me a kickback if you guys were to buy it from them, and it would definitely help them out and get in the business and things like that. So let me give you guys a chance to get down there and get them in the comments and let me know your thoughts on the leash. So let's go ahead and get into the predicting of the coon movement, right? So I'm sorry to have kind of slipped that little beginning part in here on that video, but that's kind of important deal going on the channel, and I think you guys all deserve to be in the know, right? So predictors on coon movement. Okay, so coon movement is just like any other animal, right? It's just like any other animal. They're going to move when they want to move, how they want to move, where they want to move, when they're thirsty, when they're hungry, they're going to go here, they're going to go there. And that is just kind of how it shakes out. You could have the best perfect day, the best predicted time to have a coon on the ground or have a deer walk in front of you, and they still don't, right? So they could still not be there. So I don't want anybody to think that this video is a end all be all, you're always, no matter what, going to have coon, because that's just not the case. We can kind of try to up our percentages there, and the only thing that we can do is kind of take logic and apply it to this. And this is me, and this is how I think about it, and this is how I look at it, and this is kind of the practice that I try to practice when I'm adamantly out there trying to get things done. Okay, so for number one, we have the tactical thinking video that should be coupled with this, right? So you guys make sure you check out the tactical thinking video. It has a lot to do with this kind of stuff, right? Okay, so number one, here in Michigan, we have 4 seasons, and we have 4 distinct seasons, usually winter being the most distinct out of them all, right? So we have very cold, we have very hot, we have medium hot, we have rainy, we have all of the stuff. The fall, we got all of it, right? So up here, the weather's very, very unpredictable in Michigan. It is very well known. It's a joke for the whole country. Take a muscle shirt and a coat. You might need both in the same day, right? So the weather is very unpredictable here, and we get cold snaps and hot snaps, and we get cool spells coming in and hot spells coming in. It's all over the place all the time, but sometimes we can use that to our advantage, right? So what makes sense is what we're actually looking for here, right? So if we have a cool spell come into a place, let's say that it has typically been sitting, I'm just going to throw random degrees out there. It's more about the drops or whatever, right? So if we have something that has been sitting maybe up in the 50s for a good solid week, right? So a good solid week or 2 weeks more or something like that. Okay, so if we're in a good hot run or good even weather and it just drops down, okay, so we start getting a cold snap, and what will happen is when they get that cool snap, if it stays for a while, right? So if we get a cool snap and it stays for about a week, we can almost bet that the first couple nights that the coon are out, when they get that cold snap, they'll probably want to stay in more, just because they're like, oh, it's a little bit too cold. I've been used to the 50-degree weather. It's got a cold snap coming in, and they'll stay in. But if they stay in that cool spell, they'll have to come out at some time, right? So how long can we go without water? How long can we go without food? Just a couple days. So a couple days into a cool spell is a good time to go. A couple days into a hot spell is a good time to go, right? So if we go from one to the other and we're in it for a couple days or a week or more, within a 3-4 days right in there is a good time to get out and go, because they're going to have to get out and move if they did go up, right? So if they did decide, it's a little too cold, I'm going to stay in. It's a little too hot, I'm going to stay in, see if we can wait it out. But then it gets into the 3rd, 4th day and they're going, no, I got to come out, I got to move. On the other side of that, they could move the whole time, they could never go up, right? So it could just never change. All right, so the next one here is we're going to talk about is a cool snap after a hot spell, or a hot snap after a cool spell. And now a snap, it would be just like a day, right? So like a day or two, bam. So let's say we got 40-degree weather, it drops down, gonna be 30 degrees this one particular night, and then all of a sudden it's right back to going back to 40. So we can hunt right after that cold snap, right? So as soon as it warms back up, we hunt right after the cold snap, especially if it's only like a day, right? Because they can go up and they can stay up for like a day, and then when it warms back up, we can get out there after them, and we know, like, hey, yeah, they stayed in last night, it was too cold, or it was way colder than it's usually been. Maybe they stayed in. Now they're going to be a lot more active because it warmed back up, or vice versa with the hot. So if it's been cool and it gets really hot and then it cools back off, that would be a good time to go ahead and jump in there, right? It's just all kind of logical thinking. If I'm a coon out there in the world and I'm living my day-to-day life and it's been 50 degrees and all of a sudden, like, man, it's like 30 degrees, I'm going to go get warm. And then you poke your head out and you go, oh, it's back to 50, I'm coming back out. Or you poke your head out and go, oh man, it's 30, maybe I'll wait it out one more day. And then you pop back out on that 3rd day, goes, oh, it's still 30, and you go back in, and you come, whatever the case may be. We have kind of a spell that we can hunt in, and we also have the snaps that we can hunt. And that just goes for a lot of different game, and just in general, right? After cool snaps, cold snaps, hot snaps, whatever. Okay, so coon, well, another one is a really good one to do is after a storm, okay? So after a storm comes through and hits, right at the end of the storm, it could even be storming just a little bit still and it's starting to clear up. But as soon as that storm is on its way out and it's rolling out, and this is kind of more strictly speaking about, like if the storm has hit at the correct time, that it's either still daytime when it's gone and they have the fresh night to come out, or if it's ended in the night after the storm has left, right? So after a storm. Before a storm is another good one, right? So I think we've all probably heard it in one way, shape, form, or the other, that, the animals know, the animals know, the animals know. Okay, so if the animals know that a storm is going to roll in, their instinct is going to be, get out, get what I need so I can get laid up for a day or two, right? So if that storm comes in, rolls in on us, we need to get up. So if we know that a storm is on its way and it's maybe within a half a day or something away from us, it'd be a good time to get out there and get hunting, right? Because the animals know, right? So if the animals know, I think everybody's heard this one time or the other. So it is definitely a good idea to hunt before a storm and after a storm, because they're coming out after being tucked away and they're getting prepared to be tucked away in the storm. And I've talked to a subscriber already, I have treated coons in storms, I have treated coon and rainy weather, snowy weather, frigid cold weather. If you've hunted all year round at some particular point in time, you have more than likely treated coon in every single type of weather imaginable. They move when they want to move, and that is ultimate. But we can try to ink out that little bit of advantage if there is one to be had, right? So the next one here is going to be the little bit of rain, like a light rain, a light sprinkle. This is always a good time to run. I feel like we get really strong tracks. The coon have been out, they've been laying tracks down. They're not raining so hard that they want to go up, but they're out there and they're pilfering around. And maybe if we're getting a light rain, it has usually been severely hot, right? So if it has been severely hot and we get a light rain, they're going to come out. They're going to want to cool off, right? Anybody want to cool off. If I'm going out in the rain and it's a light rain, I'm saying, man, that's cool. That feels good. That feels good on me to be out in this little bit of rain, and it's cooling me off, give me a break from the heat. The animals probably think the same exact way. And it gives us the added benefit of a little a wetness on the coon. Just get them stinking real good. little wetness in the ground, get the tracks nice and big, and real easy to work, and it's not raining so much that it is washing it all away, right? So we get that sweet little spot right there in that light rain. Okay, so let's see. A few days into inclement weather, sorry for shaking the camera, but a few days into inclement weather. So if we have bad weather rolling in, okay, they can't stay up forever. They cannot stay up forever. If we have a storm or pretty bad rainy weather that it's going to rain kind of hard for a week or more or something like that, in them few days in there, we probably have a good chance of catching them out. They might not be out for long, but they have to come out at some point in time. They can't stay laid up forever. They have a limit, right? We have to drink, we have to eat, we have to do what we need to do. So any inclement weather that's going to force them to stay in, any really hot snaps where they're going to go, oh man, it's been cool, it's a little too hot, I don't want to move, or any snaps where it is like, oh man, it's been really nice out, now it's severely cold, I don't want to move. They can only stay in those spells for so long, okay? So another one here is going to be the coon rut, right? So the coon rut is, I believe, like December, January. It's through them kind of winter months right there. It probably depends a little bit on where you're at, but if you Google it, this is what I'll tell you. I'll actually Google it and put the picture right there, right? So I was always told it was in January, which that's pretty much the coldest time of year up here in Michigan, or has been typically, you know, over my lifetime or my hunting lifetime. So January has been probably about the coldest months. But I've treated a lot of coon in January, man, and we treated a lot of coon in December too. The snow does not mean that they are denned up. It does not mean that they're going to den up, right? For the most part, you're going to catch a lot of females in the dens, but the males are going to be out running and fighting and getting back and forth to try to breed that female. So in that January rut time, December rut time, whatever this picture told y'all, I would recommend Googling it for yourself. But whatever the picture tells you for Google, the coon rut, it's the same thing as any other animal out there, right? So if coons have a rut, just like bucks have a rut, what's the best time to get big bucks? The rut, right? So the best time to get big boar coons is going to be in the rut. Whether that's good running for some people, they don't like to run them, they do like to run them, it don't really matter. But this is a good time to get out there and start going, especially when they start kicking off. So up here in Michigan, they actually extended coon season. It used to end in January, right? So now they've extended it out all the way till March. So we have the rut in January, they're breeding, and then they got the few months, and we got the babies down in spring, which is around March. Okay, so if we get a lot of kits running around, or we're seeing a lot of families, coons running around, or little coons popping around, it's a good time to get out and run, man, especially if we're in season. So here in Michigan, we're in season in March, beginning of spring or whatever. We get out there, the weather's nicer, the leaves haven't came all the way back on yet, it's still a little bit cool outside, and the mama coons are out there raising their young, right? So we can get onto those, right? We can get onto those, and if we get a coon and she's running around with a pack of babies following her around everywhere, the tracks are going to be real good running. We're going to have a lot more harder run for our money because the mama ain't going to want to let you get a hold of them coon or them babies, right? So she's going to run you all over. But it's always a good time to get out there and run when we know that they are plentiful, the population's popping, it's spring is springing. Things are moving around. They're starting to be more active. They're eating all those things that are coming up. The water's stalling off. They got more water supply. So that's a good time in general, right? So there's some times like coon rut, maybe spring. It's some good times in general. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. We are so close to 1,000, y'all. And let me know what you guys think about that leash down there in the comments. And just do me the favor and let me be honest with me, right? So just be honest with me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all keep them treated.